Call to order the regular meeting of the Gurnee Village Board of October 10, 2022. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Here.
Ross. Here. Garner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Balmas. Thorstensen.
Here.
6 present.
Well, stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hello, everyone. So, to start tonight, first item on the agenda is approval of consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 aye.
All right, Pat.
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the September 26, 2022 Village Board meeting. Item number 2, approval of Resolution 2022-04, establishing certain property of the Village of Gurnee to be surplus. Police Department Units 100, 111, 151, 172. Community Development Department Units 303, 305, 368, 478. And Public Works Department Units 223 and 673. Item number 3, approval of Information System Division's recommendation to renew a 1-year Microsoft Software Assurance Maintenance Agreement with Dell Marketing LP at a cost of $27,838.59. State of Illinois Department of Innovation and Technology contract. Item number 4, approval of request from Trio Car Wash, 3419 Grand Avenue, to extend the permit approval deadline by 1 year to October 26, 2023. Item number 5, approval of request to dispose of certain police department documents as authorized by the State of Illinois Local Records Commission. Item number 6, approval of payroll for period ending September 23, 2022 in the amount of $986,772.54. Number 7, approval of bills for period ending October 10, 2022 in the amount of $1,926,135.53.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee O'Brien, second by Trustee Garner. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 aye.
Motion carries. On to petitions and communications. For the item that all of you have come for, right? Administration of oath of office for the promotion of Police Sergeant Jason Kalinowski to Police Commander.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, good evening. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Village Administrator, Village Board, we thank you for the opportunity to come before you again with, I guess for the last time, hopefully, Sergeant Jason Kalinowski. I feel like you've gotten to know him pretty well in the last few months. I think this is our 3rd or 4th or 5th time here recognizing Jason, but this here is more of accumulation of him as a person and his hard work and his dedication over his career here in Gurnee. And so before we call him up and the mayor administers the oath of office, I want to do a little bit more detailed introduction on Jason and who he is, where he comes from, and how he serves our community. So with a little bit of background, Jason grew up in Round Lake Beach area, graduated from Round Lake High School, played football there, went on to Carthage College where he played football at Carthage College and met his beautiful wife, Danielle. So they're getting ready to celebrate an anniversary. They have 2 very beautiful children, and you'll meet both of them a little bit later as they come up and help Jason with his promotion. He's got some family friends here, so thank you all for being here. Jason started his policing career in Kenilworth, came to the Gurnee Police Department in 2008, where he was assigned to the patrol division, worked in the patrol division until about 2012, when he was selected to be a founding member of our visitor-oriented policing team. That's the team that primarily serves the retail and hotel corridor here in the community. He worked on the visitor-oriented policing team for about a year and a half, and he was promoted to sergeant in 2013. As I've mentioned, we've been here quite a bit the last few months. Jason's had a really solid year. He's had a solid career. But I just think it's important to tell you a little bit about who Jason is and why he serves the way he does. We've hired a lot of officers in the last year and a half, and one of the questions that we get asked often is, what type of officer are you looking for? And the answer is pretty simple. We're looking for those who recognize that this profession is about service. Service to the community and service to others. And the hope being that we're going to find good people that want to be police officers, and we can teach you how to be the police, but it isn't always easy to teach you to be a good person. Jason's a good person. He uses a phrase around the building sometimes, he's a good dude. Well, that's Jason. Jason's a good dude, and he has that servant's heart, where he puts others' needs and service to the community first and foremost in his life. And that shows every day. I think most of the community recognizes Jason. He's kind of the face of Gurnee because he's out and about. He's involved in a lot of programs. He's involved in a lot of different organizations. And so he is well known in the community. But I think more than that, to the department, he's a patriot as well. And in his service to the community and why he does it. And so from me, I just wanted to say thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do for our community, our organization, the men and women of the Gurnee Police Department, and how you have performed as a sergeant over the last few years. So one last round of applause for Jason as a sergeant. With that being said, Jason, will you join us up here? I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mayor Tom Hood, and he's going to administer the oath of office.
All right, raise your right hand. I state your name.
Jason Kalinowski.
Having been appointed to the office of commander
Has been appointed to the office of commander
in the village of Gurnee,
in the village of Gurnee,
in the county of Lake,
in the county of Lake,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of commander
the duties of the office of commander
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
All right, we have a tradition here. When you get promoted, we give you the option of choosing who you want to pin your new badge on. Jason has two kids, Kane and Eleanor, and so they've opted to help their dad out. And so, Eleanor, I think you're going to take his badge off, right? So come on up. All right, Kane, you're going to pin his new badge on.
Well, thank you all for coming. I totally don't get really emotional with this type of stuff, but when the chief was speaking, I was, so I'm going to try not to. I've been here a couple times this year for several things that just keep happening. Again, I've spoken before about the year I had last year and how terrible it was, and then coming to this year and all the good stuff that's happened. So first of all, I want to thank the chief. The chief and I were on night shift together when we started a long time ago, and he's actually the person that got me into golf. So that's a highlight that he'll never lose. But we started together on the road, and he's always just been a good mentor and a good leader, and kind of following it through the ranks has kind of motivated me as well to kind of be the person that I've been. So I also want to thank the police officers we work with. We have a bunch of good dudes that work with us, so it makes it very easy to supervise and want to come to work and want to have them be the best they can be. So I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy coming to work. I enjoy making them be the best they can be and leading from the front. Other thing I want to do is thank the village. This is obviously, there's few promotions in here that are important, that there's not many opportunities, so being able to be trusted to be a commander in the police department, I'm very honored to do that. Other thing is my family. If my wife could come up here. So the chief mentioned I do a lot of stuff, like a lot of things from volunteer stuff to overtime to, hey, there's a shooting somewhere, I got to go into work, and she just moves the blanket, puts the chair up, and I leave. So very supportive. She's comes from a fireman family. Her father was a fireman, so she kind of knew what she was getting into. But the support that I have is the reason that I am the way I am. I don't come to work with baggage. I have a person that's happy to see me go to work and a person that's happy to see me come home. So without the support from these three, I don't know what I can do. We've had multiple baseball games, football games, where I'm like, all right, I get there right before the game starts, I coach, and then right back to work. And it's never sad, never a thing. Kane gives me a kiss, or Eleanor gives me a kiss, and I go right back. So super supportive. I'm very blessed to be surrounded by my family. So it's very important to me to have them here. And my career and my journey's been very successful because of them. I couldn't put into words how much I appreciate the support that I have. So for those of you who don't know me, the fire chief, where you at? He told me I've said the same thing the last 3 times, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. For those of you who don't know me, I'm from Round Lake. I grew up in Round Lake Beach. I came from nothing. So if you met me today and the things that I've been afforded, it's not where I came from. So part of the reason I police the way I do is because I don't forget that. I don't forget where I came from. I don't forget how excited I was the first day I got a job and that I got to be a police officer. And I treat every day the same way. Like, I'm blessed to be in the position I am. And I don't forget, I'm not looking for the next best thing. I want to make this place as best as it can be. So as long as I'm here, which will be 14 or so more years, I'm going to continue to do that. So whatever opportunities that come my way, I'm going to make the best of them and try to keep our department the best in Lake County and the state of Illinois.
So, Jason, we're going to hold you to that 14-plus years. So just remember, when I see it in your eye and you're thinking about leaving early, do not even second-guess that part. So that's right. So from the village board and myself, we do really want to thank you for the efforts you put in, and you are the face. I thought I was the face of Gurnee, but I guess you must be the face of Gurnee, right? So you're a prettier face anyway. So, but we really appreciate it's a family thing, and with you guys, I really appreciate the whole family thing. It's like that's what the village is about. That's what Gurnee's about. We're family-oriented, and our employees, we expect none less. It's not like you have to divorce your family and just do your job. We expect it to be a package deal where the family can come along and enjoy things like tonight. So thanks for presenting it that way, and I know that's the way it is. So thanks again. on to item number 2, approval of proclamation designating October 23 through 31, 2022 as Red Ribbon Week in the village of Gurnee. Red Ribbon Week is the oldest and largest drug prevention campaign in the nation. The Red Ribbon was chosen as a symbol commemorating the work of Anikre Camerini, Drug Enforcement Administration agent who was murdered in the line of duty and has come to represent the belief that one person can make a difference. This year's Red Ribbon Week theme is Celebrate Life, Live Drug-Free, and is a reminder that every day Americans across the country make significant daily contributions to their communities by being the best they can be because they live drug-free. Now, therefore, I, Thomas Hood, Mayor of the Village of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim October 23 through 31 as Red Ribbon Week in Gurnee, and the village encourages all citizens to wear and display red ribbons and participate in drug-free activities throughout that week, joining the rest of the country to establish an atmosphere that supports awareness, education, and ongoing initiatives to prevent illegal drug use. And is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee O'Brien. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On to reports. Presentation by Finance Director Brian Gosnell, review of Fire Station number 3, early debt retirement. Brian?
All right, thank you, Mayor. We're getting ready to make the final payoff for the fire station promissory note. Just wanted to review it with the village board and give one last chance for input before we do so. Fire Station 3 total project cost was just over $5.8 million. The village kicked in about $363,000 of that. A lot of that was preliminary engineering and things like that, plans. So we ended up financing about $5.4 million. We did so on a 10-year note with a 15-year amortization period. If you recall, at the time, we really wanted to keep the terms very flexible for us, as you know, we were entering COVID or into COVID and trying to, make the best decision possible and with the maximum flexibility. Maturity on the note would mature 10/1 of 2030, is 2.85%. We do have a contribution from the Warren-Waukegan Fire Protection District of $2 million that is sitting in the capital fund right now. We paid just over, or almost $323,000 to date in principal. Leaves us, if you take the Warren-Waukegan money and what we've paid so far, leaves a remaining payoff amount of $3,115,844. If you recall, last year, we did have a sizable general fund surplus. We did transfer $3.5 million from the general fund to the capital fund to pay off the fire station, and the rest contributed to next year's capital program. So that's what's teed up for actually tomorrow. I got Dane ready to go. He's got a payoff statement for me, ready to make that payment tomorrow. If we make the payment, interest savings will be $866,536. We included everything in the annual budget for this year. Once this debt is paid off, we will only have the IEPA loan left, which, as you know, is a 20-year loan, 1.84% for the Knowles Road Water Tower. So right now, we are currently on track. If we continue to make the additional payments, we're on track to have that paid off in 2030. We'll keep an eye on the market and see if at some point it will be advantageous to pay that off early and bring that back to the board. So still got that on the front burner. Whenever the timing's right economically to do so, we'll bring that back. With that, happy to take any questions. Otherwise, just looking for a go-ahead to pay off the fire station.
Any questions to my right? Any questions to my left? No questions? I think there is a consensus.
Okay, good.
Go for it.
Just two more reminders quick on the reports. So CLC, Advanced Technology Center ribbon cutting, Wednesday at 4:30. Should hopefully have that on your calendar. And then the intergovernmental picnic Thursday, 6 o'clock, Old Plain Campus Cafeteria. So just a reminder on those two items that are happening this week.
Thanks, Ben. No old business, right?
Correct.
On to new business. Item number 1, approval of ordinance 2022,
57.
granting zoning text amendments pursuant to the Gurnee zoning ordinance for the following articles. Articles 13.3, signs allowed without permits. Article 9.6, modifications to approve final PUD plans. Article 2.1, definition of general terms. Article 8.1, use matrix. Article 8.2, principal use standards. And Article 5.4, commercial district design standards. Pat.
Sure. So I had a pretty detailed memo from our planning manager, Tracy Velkover, on this when they were working on a text amendment regarding outdoor storage, some other housekeeping items that have come up since the zoning ordinance update kind of came to the surface. So staff figured that they would address those as well at the same time. So David's got a quick PowerPoint that he's going to walk us through each of the text amendments, what they mean, and then it'll be ready for your consideration after that.
Thank you, Pat. Mayor, Village Board, thank you for entertaining this opportunity to make some minor adjustments to the zoning ordinance that should clean up some things that we've found over the last couple of years. Basically, there are five distinct topics that we're going to be handling tonight. Each of those are found in the various chapters and subchapters of the zoning ordinance that were quoted in the ordinance. The five items are the outdoor storage yard amendment, some modifications to the directional signs, PUD language amendment as it relates to parking, the definition of a vehicle dealership, and then the commercial district design standards will all be entailed in this ordinance. So breaking it down, the outdoor storage yard amendment, this came to light earlier this year when we had an applicant come in requesting outdoor storage of trailers. It didn't fall cleanly into any of our existing zoning categories, so it there was an opportunity for them to utilize the outdoor storage yard definition. After they started through the process, we realized this may not be the best utilization of Village of Gurnee lands, so we enacted a moratorium last March, giving us 6 months to stop any future development, clean up the language a little bit, which is what we're doing tonight. So what the language does is removes vehicle or storage containers utilization as part of the storage yard. It modifies the applicable zoning districts where storage yards could be located, removed completely from the C3 and I1, and changed from permitted to special use permits within the I2 and I3. And then it combined the use standards for storage yards with contractor storage yards, as those are both similar type of uses and impacts on neighboring properties. The next one that we undertook was a sign amendment. This is basically facilitating directional signs for curbside pickup that we've seen become very, very popular in the last couple of years over the pandemic. Currently, there's no permit required for directional signs. However, it was a fairly limiting height and size on those directional signs. We allowed, through the amendment, are allowing for a 7-foot height for directional signs. This is basically the same height as the handicap parking stalls that you see in the middle of every parking lot. Those are required to be up off the ground a little bit higher so that they're eye level with the vehicles. So we're decided to match that with our directional sign standard. And the amendment also allows for illuminated signs for drive-up stalls. We had one that was proposed for Target, and they're actually coming back through for a second one right now. The only caveat being that if it's non-solar powered, so if it's powered by house power or 120 power, it would still require a permit for an electrical alteration. But other than that, they would be allowed without permit. Moving on, the PUD amendment as it relates to parking. Currently, we have two processes within the zoning code, one for PUDs, one for non-PUDs. The non-PUD parking modification is a process that we can utilize for projects that either cannot meet code or want to do some shared parking. It's handled completely by the Planning and Zoning Board. Similarly, the plan unit development process also has a parking modification requirement. However, that one, if it exceeds a reduction in 5 spaces, no matter how big the project is, 5 spaces trips it into a major PUD amendment, which requires public hearings and village board approval. So we wanted to make sure it was on even playing field for projects, that had moderate parking relief requested, that whether you're in a PUD or not in a PUD, you would go through the parking modification process rather than having an uneven playing field for those types of zoning. We also added a clarification to the vehicle dealership definition within the definition section of the zoning code. Currently, our vehicle dealership currently excludes semis, semi-trucks, large trucks. That was kind of an oversight. We really didn't have a definition that included them. So as part of this amendment, we are proposing to add trucks or semi-trucks into the definition of our vehicle dealership, and it would fall underneath the same use categories as the previous ones. Finally, are proposing some modifications to the commercial district design standards. What we're proposing to do is streamline the deviations to those design standards. So many of our commercial projects have facade requirements, have fenestration requirements, have roof line requirements, entrance design, and building materials. Right now, once again, it's a special use permit that requires a full public hearing in front of the village, or full public hearing in front of the Planning and Zoning Board, followed by final approval by the village board. That process takes 2.5, 3 months, and it can be something, as minor as you don't quite have enough glass on the front of your building because you've got, back of house stuff kind of on the front side of the building where we require 50% of the front facade being glass. So in cases where it just doesn't quite make sense, this would provide a streamlined process for our applicants to take it once again to the PZB. They would have the final authority on it, as it's truly an aesthetic design parameter for all of these. So that would give them the opportunity to review those applications, much like they do the minor sign exceptions and the parking modifications right now. So you entrust them to do those type of legwork for you, and reduces the time from 2 to 3 months to less than a month to get that relief granted. And then the other part of the commercial district design standards, C4 zoning district, which is our old Grand primarily zoning district. When we enacted the zoning code, we did not differentiate for those design standards for the commercially developed properties. So historically within the C4 district, we've always encouraged, required as part of the special use process, the commercial conversions to have a residential look and feel. The current zoning code as it sits has the same, commercial facade requirements as it does for our C2 or C1 or some of our other commercial zoning districts. We felt it important that we maintain that residential feel of the old Grand commercial district. Therefore, we're tweaking the language within that portion of the use standards so that it does mandate residential to commercial conversions as well as new construction commercial projects to have a residential look and feel. So that's the summary of all of the code changes that are before you tonight, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
To my right, any questions? To my left, any questions for Dave? No. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Balmas. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross. Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien. Balmas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 aye.
Motion carries. On to item number 2, approval of Public Works Department request to purchase one Peterbilt 548 chassis from JX Peterbilt of Wadsworth at the cost of $120,192. Public Works Department Unit 293. Pat?
Sure. So I had a memo from our Fleet Management Administrator, Craig Lambrick, on this. You'll remember back in April, the village board approved ordering 4 Peterbilt chassis to replace some aging plows in the fleet. In years past, before supply chain issues, those trucks would show up in the November, December, January timeframe. In this new world we live in, we'll be lucky if those trucks are built in the second quarter of 2023, and we're not sure all 4 are going to be built. So JX Peterbilt obviously is a vendor we've worked with. They know we have these trucks on order. They had a 548 that was ordered by another entity, and they canceled that order. So they reached out to us, knowing that we're in need of chassis, to see if we'd be interested in picking up that truck. It's similar to the units that we currently purchase. Will be available here in November, and there's also a price increase that's coming along January 1st. So from our perspective, it made sense, given the unlikelihood that these other 4 are going to show up. If by some miracle the other 4 show up, we'll need to do a budget amendment, if they show up before April 30th. We don't think that's going to happen. So from a budget standpoint, bringing this additional truck on wouldn't impact this year's budget. It's planned for replacement next year, but again, we have this opportunity before us where there's a truck sitting on there and no one has claimed it at this point. So staff believes it makes sense to move forward with this purchase, and it's before you for consideration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Garner. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross. Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 ayes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment. If anybody would like to step to the microphone and state your name. There being none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.